What's up, guys? It's your boy Dean back out with another video. Alright, today we're gonna be doing a new video. I've had this video idea for a while, but I thought, why not make it now, since I mainly do gaming videos, which I still will continue, but I said on my 100 subscriber special that I'll be talking about a few extra things, aka like horror things and horror movies, or just horror things in general that I have a lot of knowledge on. But I thought, why not do this video, since, yeah, I'm going to be doing a top 10, my top 10 favourite games of all time. I could do a top 15, because there's a few others in there that I really want to put in the list, but 10's like a major number in it, so I thought, why not? Alright, let's get straight into this, guys. So, my 10th, coming in at 10th is Days Gone. It came out in 2019, I believe. Yep. It's basically one of the best zombie games I've ever played, if not the best. Because there's not a lot of... No, well, it's not the best, but it's one of the best. There's not a lot of zombie games out there that really wow me, if you know what I mean. That are wow, because most zombie games that you'll see nowadays, or quite a few of them that you'll see nowadays, shall I say, have got like multiplayer in them, aka Black Ops zombies. Or there are a couple zombie games out there, like I think the game literally just called Zombie, or I forgot what they're called, but you know, they've got a story, but after that it's not free roam, so it's like a story based game. And Days Gone is a story-based game, but when you've completed the story afterwards, you can free roam, so you can do whatever you want. You can scavenge parts and everything. And yeah, when I first got it back in 2019, I think it was it was the year it came out. I got it like a couple of months after it came out, I believe, or a month. I was really impressed with the story. It gripped me right from the start, and I absolutely loved it. It's got some good character detail going on there. Got a lot of good characters. I could spend this entire video talking about what each game is about, etc., etc. But this video will be way too long, so I'm just gonna tell you why it's my favorite and maybe a little bit about it. But obviously, Days Gone's about the main character, Deacon St. John, which most of the game, your mission is just to track down your wife. But it's a great game. It's free roam as well. That's one of the main reasons why I love it so much. I love open world zombie games. The idea of that is amazing. That's why I can't wait for the game that comes out later this year called the Day Before or something. I forgot what it's called. It's a zombie game and it's open world apparently. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, that's Days Gone in 10th place. A beautiful game, amazing graphics, good story. Solid, good story, but no multiplayer or anything. But I don't mind, because I'm a story-based guy. But anyway, that's 10th. Alright, coming in at 9th, it's Metal Gear Rising. That game came out back in a long time ago, 2013, I believe. That's a great game. It's not open world. Yeah, I was about to say, no Metal Gear game. There's only 2 Metal Gear Solid games that are open world. But yeah, Metal Gear Rising is my favorite Metal Gear Solid game, or Metal Gear game in general, and it's 9th place because you get to play as Raiden. He's like a cyborg. He's got a sword, and it's pretty cool. And it delves a little bit sideways from the Metal Gear franchise, if you know what I mean. Like, basically, throughout most of the Metal Gear Solids, not all of them, but most of them, the main character is Snake. So you play Snake a lot through the Metal Gears. But finally, we got a Metal Gear. Came out in 2013, Metal Gear Rising, where you don't play as someone that's Snake, which is pretty cool. You play as a freaking cyborg, and it honestly, a lot of good things about this. It might have been higher up on my list if I played the DLC for it, because there's a DLC for it, I think, called Jetstream Sam, and there's another one, but I never played those, ever, and I still haven't up until this day, so... But it's 9th on the list because it has an amazing story. The story is very short, and by I mean short, I mean you can complete it in about 6 hours tops. Seriously, it's a very short game, but it's amazing. The boss fights, amazing. The music, that's another good thing about it. That's why it's ranked a little bit higher on my list, because it has a good music in the game. The story's just amazing, and it's not open world. which is a little bit of a bummer. It might have gotten higher on my list if it was, but it's still an amazing game. But yeah, the story for that is basically you just have to. There's no major storyline. Like the story plot just changes throughout the game. But you're a guy called Raiden. I really want to talk more about these games, but I feel like the video will be way too long, so I won't, just for the sake of it. But I still hope you guys enjoy it. Anyway, coming in at 8th is Life is Strange Before the Storm. I can talk a little bit more about this one because Life is Strange Before the Storm is 8th on my list for quite a few reasons. Not a lot of people like this Life is Strange compared to the original. I think if you ask your average Life is Strange fan, or just all Life is Strange fans probably, what their favourite is, most of them will say the original, the first one, that came out back in 20... When did it come out again? 2013, I think? I forgot, guys. Apologies, but it came out 2013, I think, the original. But Before the Storm came out in 2014, I think. 14 or 15 or 16. I could be wrong. Anyway, alright, so Before the Storm's 8th because, again, it delves a little bit sideways from the main character from the original, which is Max, but since that's the first game and we don't see a lot of her, it's alright, but we play as Chloe and her storyline is really, really interesting and nice because we get to find out what Rachel Amber was like, aka the girl who went missing in the first game, the original game. Most of the original game is trying to track down her and, stuff, but we get to see what she's like in Before the Storm, and her and Chloe, they build a big connection, and I like that. Yeah. So I like that game. It's not obviously open world. No Life is Strange games are open world, but nonetheless, it's still got an amazing story. Music is actually amazing in that game. Music is just wow. It's one of the best games I've ever played for music. Unfortunately, though, which is shocking, the best game in the for me ever for music. It's hard. Red Dead would probably be second place, but unfortunately, first place would be Metal Gear Rising. That game is just amazing for music. But anyway, 8th, Life is Strange Before the Storm, because it's got an amazing story. You get to see what happened, before the first one. Music's amazing. The story is great. It's not a short game, but it's not a long game. You know what I mean? But yeah, the detail and everything in that game, I like it. Not a lot of fans like Before the Storm. They prefer the original, but I really got into the Life is Strange Before the Storm because of quite a few reasons. I just love it. It's a great game, and it actually is quite sad of the stuff that happens in there, because the endings that you can get, because you can get multiple endings, they're really sad. That game gripped me a lot, guys, back when I played it in 2014, 15, I think, for the first... Oh, no, it wasn't. It was 18 I played it for the first time, I think. It gripped me, though, hard, guys. It's an amazing game. Alright, coming in at 7th is the original Last of Us. The first Last of Us. That's it. Some of you might be like, oh, wow, he's ranked it that low on the list, maybe, because the Last of Us got, I think it was Game of the Year 2013. It was either that or GTA 5, but it's amazing, The Last of Us. The story is absolutely beautiful. It's about Joel and Ellie. Joel has to take Ellie to the Fireflies, but most of the time when he takes her to the destination, he finds the people dead, so he has to take them to the next destination. Gets to that one, they're dead. Gets to the next destination, etc., etc. All right. But yeah, the story for this game is amazing. But it's not the best I've ever played. But it's gripping. It's really good. It's got a solid multiplayer. I didn't play the multiplayer for this game till like kind of recently. About 2020, 2019, maybe, is when I started it. You might think that's recent, but considering the multiplayer's been out since 2013, it's recent, if you know what I mean. But this game is seventh, because it's got a great story, amazing, honestly, beautiful story, amazing mechanics and everything, and a great multiplayer, which is good, but it's not free roam, unfortunately. music is amazing, but it's not, it can't keep up with as much as the games that are before this, which is, you guys might be shocked. But anyway, such a great game, and I still play the multiplayer a lot till this day, and I always will. But yeah, that's 7th place. All right, coming in at 6th. But yeah, that's a great zombie game as well, The Last of Us. All right, coming in at 6th is The Quarry, that came out last year, 2022, I think. Or was it 2021? I think it was 2022. Again, this game is basically the predecessor of Until Dawn, but this game apparently gets a lot of hate, or got a lot of hate when it came out, because people said that it's just basically Until Dawn, but way worse. Until Dawn is an actual really good game, great horror game, literally amazing. Got good music. It's a sick story. It gives you that, atmosphere. It's a great, horror in general. And the same can be said for The Quarry. It's amazing. But in my opinion, The Quarry is better than Until Dawn, and I actually loved Until Dawn. Still do. But The Quarry, the characters, the development, how you can make them die or live, depending on the decisions. It's the same with Until Dawn, but it's just amazing. The Quarry, seriously, the story for the game, the mechanics, the decisions. I love it. I love it all, and it's actually kind of a spooky game if you get into the right mood for it. It's honestly a really good game, guys. I actually love it. The music as well, such great music. It's obviously not open world, but for a good solid game, for me, it needs to have multiplayer, a good solid story, and open world, and good music. You find that, it'll be first. But anyway, so The Quarry is 6th on my list. Such a great game. Got a lot of hate that it didn't deserve, so I actually love it. Anyway, moving on to 5th place, guys. 5th place would be quite a shocker. It's moved up and down the lists throughout the years, and it will remain in the top 10 for the rest of my life, most likely, because I grew out of every single game that's on this list. I've played this game first, and I've probably completed this game more times than any other game that's in this list. Not combined, but more than any other game, and I played it first before any of these games. Anyway, 5th place is Gears of War 2. Yep, the second game. The second game is my 5th favourite for a lot of reasons. It's got a sick story, and on top of that, the story can be played multiplayer. Yep, multiplayer. There's not a lot of games in history, seriously, or at least that I can think of, that you can play 2-player. There's not a lot I can really think of. You guys could probably, you might even be able to think of a lot. There probably is more than I think. I don't know, but there's literally the Gears of War franchise is the only games that I know in history that you can play 2-player on the story, which is great. A story. I've always, all my life, seriously, because I love the story for Gears of War 2. All my life growing up with this game, I've actually always wanted someone to play the story with me, wherever it's online or right next to me, because you can have someone play the story right next to you. As long as you've got 2 controllers, you can have someone play it with you. Until this day, I've never got anyone to play the story with me. I'd still love it if I could find someone one day that could play the story with me. That'd be amazing. Obviously, it's almost impossible, but the story is amazing. It's 2-player. It's got great music. It's got a multiplayer that's amazing. Obviously, it's not open world, sadly. Otherwise, it would be way higher on my list. It would probably shockingly be comparable to the top 3 places. But anyway, Gears of War 2 is 5th. Because I played it back in 2009 or 2008, I think it was. I played this game over 1 decade ago. Oh, wait. It's I had to think about what year it was there for a second, guys. It's 2023. But I've completed this game, and I'm not exaggerating over this, guys. I've completed the story for this game myself over 30 times. almost 40 to be precise. That and the original Last of Us are the two games I've completed the most in my gaming life. I've completed them both over 30 times. But if I remember right, I've completed Gears of War 2 just a bit more times, just a few. But yeah, that Gears of War 2 is 5th and will remain forever in my top 10. It might go up and down the list throughout the years, but it will always have a special place in my heart, and it will be 10th. I still have my Xbox 360, and I go on that game every now and again. I'm going to go on it more in the future. It's such a great game. I love the multiplayer as well for it. It's just so fun. The story for the game is amazing. But yeah, that's 5th place. Alright, 4th place. I was going to put this 5th and put Gears of War 2 4th, but I was struggling with a while. But yeah, this is 4th because it's just an amazing game for quite a few reasons. 4th is Detroit Become Human. Yep. This was my 3rd, but I moved The Last of Us Part 2 up a little bit. But Detroit Become Human is my 4th favourite game. Oh wait, no, sorry, I didn't move The Last of Us Detroit thingy. It was a different game that went up my list. Detroit is my 4th because it's got a great story, and I mean one of the best stories I've ever played, easily. Yeah, the music is amazing for it. It's not obviously open world, but the story for this game is probably one of the games that I got most grip to when I played it. Because I love the character development. Again, it's like Until Dawn and The Quarry. It's not made by the same company, if I remember right, where the decisions you make affect the people around you. It's like that. It's like that kind of thing. But yeah, it's an amazing game, Detroit Become Human. I actually really love it. I've managed to platinum it as well. But the music is really amazing. It's such a good game. The characters, most of the characters in the game are amazing. You get to play as 3 main characters, and you decide if they live or die depending on your decisions. And they're amazing characters. Honestly, all of them are. My favorite being obviously Connor, but it's such a great game, guys. Detroit, it really is. I'm going to be doing a playthrough on it eventually, guys, as well. I know it'll be a bit late, but I really don't care. I loved Detroit Become Human. I seriously do. It's such a great game. Alright, moving on to 3rd. 3rd place. Might get a bit of hate from this, but who the fuck, The Last of Us Part 2. Yep, that's my 3rd. It's higher than the original. Yep, I'll get probably a lot of hate for this, because a lot of fans would average think the first game is a lot better than it. It is better than it in some ways, but not enough ways for it to be better than it in general. Like, it's got multiplayer. It hasn't got multiplayer, sorry, unlike the first one, which is, it can take a point over that, if you know what I mean. But most of the story for the second game, in my opinion, is better than the first one. Obviously, it's got its hiccups here and there. Like, I really hated when they killed Joel off. That him and Arthur Morgan are the 3 gaming protagonists in my entire life have only made me cry at their deaths. 3rd, obviously, being, or just 3 in general being, obviously, Joel, when he died in part 2, that made me cry a lot. Dom from Gears of War 3 is in obviously 3 Gears of War since the original. He dies in the 3rd game, and I actually really love Dom. He was one of my favourite characters in Gears of War. He was my favourite actually character in Gears of War. But yeah, he died in the 3rd game. That's another one that made me cry. And obviously the main one being, which made me cry the most, and it probably still does till this day, because it is sad, Arthur Morgan from Red Dead 2. But anyway, yeah, The Last of Us Part 2 is my 3rd because it doesn't have multiplayer, unfortunately. It's got amazing music, but it's got a really good story, in my opinion. The only 2 things bad about the story is when they killed Joel off. That's really bad. It deserves to go lower because of that, but I'm keeping it there. Also because of the ending for the game. The ending for the game is trash, but it still deserves to be 3rd because the mechanics for the game are amazing. Because you've got a dodging mechanic in the game where you can dodge, you can weave really fast. like dodge. You couldn't do that in the original game. You can't even do it in the remake for the original game, which is the Last of Us Part 1, the one that I'm doing a playthrough on, the one that's only on PS5. You can't even do it on that, and I thought you would. But the mechanics for The Last of Us Part 2 are amazing, where you can literally, it shows the detail of you literally building your gun, customizing your gun. It's got an amazing story. You can weave. You can crouch. Now, The Last of Us Part 2 introduced crouching, like where you can fully prone. Sorry, not crouch, prone, as they call it. Or, yeah, where you can fully get down. That's amazing. The gore is a lot. It's such a violent game, but in a good way, because it shows how, like, the brutality of the game, of how much stuff you have. And the detail for this game is amazing. I'm talking about, guys, I tested it once and it's true. The detail for The Last of Us Part 2 is so effing crazy. If you're under a bed and some guys are chasing you, if you have a shotgun and you shoot someone in the leg, their leg will be blown off, so it will be completely off, but they'll still be alive. And the really smart bots, the game, the makers for Last of Us Part 2 really went in on bots. They made them so smart, because if you blow the leg off with a shotgun in Last of Us Part 2 to a bot, it will physically go under the bed to protect itself. Seriously. The bots are crazy smart in Part 2. Seriously, the game has got so much good detail. This is why it deserves third place in my opinion. I'll get a lot of hate for it probably, but I don't really mind and I don't care, because I loved The Last of Us Part 2 with a passion. I still do. That game deserves third place in my opinion. It's a difficult game on a harder difficulty, like Grounded, what I'm doing it on now, but it deserves third place in my opinion. The only two things bad about it, or three things, there's only physically three things that I find bad about the game. Oh, okay, four things, sorry. One, the obvious one being they kill Joel off. The second one being you don't even get to play as Joel much. Like, maybe they could have killed him off later on, but you could have played as him more. So that's two. The third being the ending for the game. The ending is really bad. Because, yeah, you don't kill Abby, even though she kills Joel. And the fourth being, it makes you play as someone that kills the person who you really like, or a person that you played as throughout the whole of the first game. Most of the first game, shall I say, sorry. So, yeah, that's another reason why I hate it, but it still deserves third place. Anyway, moving on. Second place goes to Ghost of Tsushima. Yep. This game wasn't even in my top 10 favourite games of all time about a week ago. Yep, about a week ago. Maybe a bit longer. But anyway, it wasn't even in the top 10. I've played it quite a bit now. I've got about 50 hours in the game, I think, now. Something like that. I haven't even completed it as well, and it's second place. There's no way it'll go up to first, but it will remain second. Ghost of Tsushima is an amazing game. It's one of the most beautiful games ever created, in my opinion. The scenery looks amazing. It's got beautiful sunsets, amazing music, because it's a Japanese game. The sword fighting in the game, the mechanics are beautiful. They're amazing. It shows like a different style of combat that you never see in these traditional fighting games nowadays, because you can block when you're in a sword fight, you can dodge, you can roll, you can do so much brutalities and, you know, finish your opponent off in so many ways in Ghost of Tsushima. And not only that, when you're fighting in this game, Ghost of Tsushima, when you're fighting a bot, you can switch up your fighting style. That is one thing I always wanted about a fighting game. For your character to switch up a fighting style. That's amazing, seriously. And it deserves second place in my opinion as well, because you get to customize your character, like your outfits, your armor, the color of your armor, your swords. Yep, you can change the color of your swords. You can obviously customize your swords. You can customize what things you get, etc., etc. There's so many reasons why this game deserves second place. But you can change up your fighting style. You can literally have 4 main fighting styles in the game. You can switch them up whenever you want. It's amazing. So I was going to do a playthrough of this game. I really did want to. But like I said, I've been slowing videos down on purpose because I want to enjoy certain games in my free time that I don't really get to, and I want to slow down from the content so I can enjoy games in my free time that I don't want to do playthroughs on, because I don't want to do a playthrough on every single game that I play, and also to watch some YouTube in my free time. But Ghost of Tsushima deserves second place because of all that. It's got great music. It's even got multiplayer, but I haven't tried the multiplayer and I don't want to because apparently it's quite difficult and bad, and I don't really mind not trying the multiplayer because I've said this in a previous video, I think a Red Dead video. When it comes to video games nowadays, I am a story-based gamer. I love a good story in a game. Seriously, I love a good story, and story's the main thing I look for in a game. It really is. Obviously, I love it if it has a good multiplayer. Like, I do play quite a few multiplayer games on my channel, and in general. I play The Last of Us Remastered multiplayer with Callum. I actually love that multiplayer. I didn't even play that till recently, but Callum showed it me, and it's really good. It's very, very good. But I played Red Dead Redemption 2's multiplayer every now and again. What other multiplayers do I play? Rocket League. I play that because that's multiplayer, obviously. Dying Light, I guess, multiplayer, and Xenoverse 2. So I played quite a few multiplayer games. But anyway, I look for a good story in a game, and Ghost of Tsushima has it all. What I'm looking for, has a good story, an amazing story. It's so good so far, and I haven't even completed it. And on top of that, apparently there's more than one ending to the game. I think there's 2 or 3 endings. So that's what I love about a game. I love a game that has more than one ending. It's amazing because I'd like to see what outcomes are, what you can do. That's why Detroit Become Human is on this list, because it's got different endings. Same with The Quarry, different endings. Same with Life is Strange Before the Storm. That's got a few endings depending on what you do. But yeah, Ghost of Tsushima's got an amazing story. Probably not the worst multiplayer, but apparently it's bad, so I'm going to go with it. Let's say not bad multiplayer, or not good multiplayer, whatever. Good music, solid music. It's got it all. I love Ghost of Tsushima. I didn't get to play this a lot recently. I got Ghost of Tsushima back when it came out in 2020. My girlfriend managed to get it to me literally about a week after it came out. Not even that, I think, actually. About a month, maybe a few days. I can't remember. It was in the first month of it coming out. I played a bit of it then, but I didn't get to fully experience it because I played it on an original PS4. You know, the original one that came out in 2013, and it made my PS4 sound like a jet. It couldn't handle it. I played it for about an hour, then my PS4 would say, your system is too hot. Turn it off before it overheats or something. You know, something like that. So I had to sacrifice not playing it for a while. But I've came back to it this year in 2023, and it's amazing. I didn't get a chance to play it, but I'm replaying it now, and it's amazing. It's honestly, I do not regret it. It's a solid game. I absolutely love it with a passion. So that's second. And first place, finally, being the obvious choice. It's my profile picture on PlayStation. I've got a tattoo of this. That's how much I love it. It's amazing, and it will forever be my favourite game of all time, most likely. It's Red Dead Redemption 2. This game is my first for the most reasons out of any game on this list. There's literally not a single bad thing I can think of about this game. I'm serious, guys. Maybe the only slight bad thing about it is its multiplayer. Its multiplayer had a lot of potential, but it broke down, if you know what I mean. It's one of those multiplayers that could have been better if it had timing. But yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2 is literally the best game I've ever played, and probably will be the best game I will ever play. The story is actually so sad, but it's so nerve-wracking and amazing. It's a roller coaster of emotions. It's amazing. You're introduced to a character called Arthur Morgan, because the second game is set before the first game, so you get to play someone that's not John. He's called Arthur Morgan, and it tells you what he's like, because he's like John's friend. He's older than John, because he basically grew up with him, taught him so much stuff. So this game has an amazing story, the best story I've ever played. It's really, really sad because the main character is obviously dies, Arthur Morgan. That death made me cry the most out of any death in gaming. Oh wait, thinking about that now. Sorry. Yeah, no, one more character's death made me cry. In gaming. Okay, so obviously Arthur, Joel, Dom from Gears of War 2. Arthur, Joel, Dom, and Sarah. Aka Joel's daughter from the original game. Her death made me cry because, like, I didn't like the character as much as, like, any other character, like, say, Arthur or Joel, but because she was only a kid, and the way that she died right in Joel's arms was actually sad. It's really sad. She did not need to die there. She did not deserve it. But anyway, moving away from that because I don't want to make this video too long, guys. Red Dead Redemption 2 is my favourite game of all time. It's first place because it's got an amazing story, the best ever. The story is probably that good for this game. It might even be better than every single story in this list combined. That's how much I really passionately love the story for this game. Multiplayer, it's a bit of a downer. It's a bit thing, but the multiplayer for the second game is still good for a while, but then it gets boring quite quick. It's got amazing music, one of the best music in video games I've ever played, and it's open world as well. That what I love. I love that about a game. But yeah, Red Dead is just an amazing game, guys. It's beautiful. I've even got a tattoo of Arthur Morgan. That's how much I love it. But yeah, it's got everything I was looking for in a game, or most things, shall I say. Maybe not its multiplayer, but it's difficult nowadays to find a game that's got everything like that. An open world game, a game with good music, a good story-based game, and good multiplayer. Red Dead's got literally all of those things apart from multiplayer. But it still has multiplayer, but it's not the best. But anyway, yeah. So Red Dead 2, guys, is my first. Alright, so that's my top 10, guys. Some honourable mentions that I'll mention very quickly. They were going to make this list, but thinking a bit more about it now, they'd probably be in the top 15. But anyway. Some honourable mentions for 11th place, let's say, is God of War Ragnarok. I haven't completed that yet, and it deserves higher on the list, some people would probably say, but I haven't completed it yet, and it's not good enough to keep up with most of these games on this list, in my opinion. It's a masterpiece, of course it is. God of War Ragnarok is a masterpiece, but I just can't put it higher up on my list, shockingly. But anyway, yeah. And yeah, one of the reasons why I hated it when they killed Arthur Morgan off in Red Dead 2, the main character, but it still deserved first place because it's a really sad death and it's bullshit. But the way they did it, I can forgive them. Like, he gets an illness and he dies from it, but I can forgive him because of some things that happen in that game. Anyway, 11th place would have to go to God of War Ragnarok. Such a great game. That's an honourable mention. Another honourable mention would be I've got the hiccups, guys. Sorry about that. Another honourable mention would be Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. That's another game, just like Gears of War 2, I played so much on the Xbox 360. Those two games I've played way before any of these games on this list. Obviously, other than Gears of War 2. Gears of War 2 and Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, that's what I'm talking about. Those two games I played way before any of these games. Back when it wasn't even 2010, or when it was then. But anyway, that's another great game, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. I've completed it quite a few times. Such an amazing game. My favourite Assassin's Creed it is, and it's just beautiful. Brotherhood. That's another honourable mention, or 12th place if you want to put it. Another honourable mention is just two more, guys. I'm going to do is The Witcher 3: The Wild Hunt. that would be another good honorable mention, because that's got an amazing story, good music, gripping. It's really good. Not got multiplayer, but it is free roam, and it's such a great game. I remember when it first came out back in 2015, I stayed up like about 4 nights in a row playing that game. It's such a great game, The Witcher 3, and its detail is amazing as well. And one last final honourable mention is Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. That's a great game. It should have got game. Sorry, it should have got Game of the Year back in 2016, but it didn't. Overwatch got it, unfortunately. But yeah, Uncharted 4's got really good, a really good story. Not got good multiplayer apparently, but that's okay. But yeah, Uncharted 4 would be another honourable mention. But anyway, well, that's it, guys, for my top 10 favourite games and some honourable mentions. I would have made this video quite quite a bit longer, maybe even about 40 minutes, 50 minutes, sorry, to an hour long. I could talk about a bit more, like what's about these games, but I'm not gonna. I felt like I've already been rambling on enough. I've been recording for over 36 minutes. But anyway, that's got to be my list, guys. I really do hope you enjoyed this. But yeah. Anyway, guys, yeah, it's been your boy Dean. I hope you've enjoyed this. It's something different to what I normally do, playthroughs. So it's a bit fresh. But yeah, it's been your boy Dean. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. But nonetheless, I hope you guys did enjoy it, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Take care and peace.